Good evening, everyone. We're truly glad to have you back with us tonight. If you dare to click on this video, we promise you won't regret it. Tonight, we're diving once again into paranormal encounters, those bizarre, bone-chilling moments experienced by people who live behind the wheel. From eerie sightings to unexplainable events on remote highways, these stories come straight from the road. And if you're listening to this while driving, maybe on a dark, quiet stretch of highway, we're sending you a big hug and wishing you a safe trip. Let's get into tonight's stories. But first, remember to subscribe so you never miss an episode and can stay connected to our community. You're listening to Sleep Horror Stories. I'm a cameraman for a news station that broadcasts nationwide. My job has taken me to the most remote places and the loneliest roads across the U.S., and I've seen a lot. Dangerous situations, yes, but nothing has ever scared me like what I'm about to tell you. We were covering a brutal incident in a rural part of West Virginia. The plan was to film a report at the exact site where the event had taken place, where so many had lost their lives. The property was technically private, but no one had seen the owners in years. No one even knew if they were still alive. Locals sometimes used the area to cut through the region, though they did so uneasily. From the photos we'd seen beforehand, it looked like the small homes on the land were being overtaken by the woods, like the forest was reclaiming everything. We had already filmed interviews in neighboring town and were racing against the sun when we finally headed toward the location. The road was rough. First a cracked two-lane blacktop, then a dirt path barely wide enough for our van. Near the end of the road, we reached a large wooden gate, old, rotting, and groaning like an injured animal when we pushed it open. There was just standing in the middle of nowhere like something out of a horror film. No fences, no house in sight, just the gate. There were still several miles to go before we'd reach the heart of the property. It didn't make sense for someone to own so much land and simply abandon it. More likely, the locals had blocked the way years ago, trying to keep others out. We opened the gate and continued on. But no more than 300 feet in, the driver stopped the van. No explanation, no warning. He turned off the headlights and stayed quiet. My producer asked what was going on, but the driver didn't respond. Without a word, he began to slowly turn the vehicle around, taking extra care not to fall into the ditches on either side of the narrow road. My producer began to yell at him, insisting we had to keep going, that we'd come all this way just to film. I was in the front passenger seat and couldn't see much, but my producer was right behind the driver. Then, the driver made a small nod, motioning for him to look out the left window. He did. I still couldn't see anything, but my producer froze, dead quiet. The driver finished turning around, and, without switching the lights back on, we rolled back toward the gate. He stepped out, calmly closed it, got back in, and we headed toward town. It took my producer nearly 20 minutes to say anything. When he finally did, he just talked about the footage we'd shot earlier, as if nothing had happened. Later, after dinner, we met up with a local friend at a bar. After a few tequilas, my producer finally told us the truth. He was shocked that we hadn't seen it. When he was yelling at the driver to continue and we began to turn back, he saw figures approaching, walking, floating just above the ground. At least 10 of them, maybe more hidden in the dark. All silent, all drifting down the path toward us. That's when he froze. And when the driver got out to shut the gate behind us, my producer didn't even dare look. He said he felt paralyzed, like his mind just shut off for a while. He only came back to himself after we'd left. Some might say that's impossible, that things like this don't happen, or they won't believe me because I didn't see it myself. But I swear, that producer has never walked away from a job. We've filmed in dangerous areas. We've been threatened, and still he stayed. Always. Even now, you can watch his reports on primetime TV. I don't know what he saw that night, but I know he wasn't lying. Maybe someday I'll understand. My story is short, but seriously, it's one of the weirdest things that's ever happened to me. And I'd love it if someone could tell me what the hell it was. I'm a long-haul driver. I've been ever since I could work. You see a lot on the road. But what happened that night, it doesn't fit with anything I've ever heard. This was near the Texas-New Mexico border, not far from a town called Silver Ridge. I wasn't a semi, but driving a 28-foot moving truck. Smaller, easier to manage. It was 3 a.m., and I was exhausted. I hadn't stopped for dinner, even though I considered it. My coffee was gone, and my eyes were heavy. That's when I saw a tiny sign in a dirt road cutting away from the highway. I followed it with my eyes and noticed faint lights like porch lights for what looked like a few small homes tucked away off the road. I slowed down for a better look. As I got closer, I realized it wasn't just one house. There were several. What surprised me was how well lit the place was for that hour. Curious, I turned off the highway and into that street, hoping to find a gas station or cafe, somewhere I could rest and maybe refill my coffee. But there was no one. The homes looked abandoned, though the lights were still on. It felt like people had just dropped everything and run. I rolled down the window and was hit with a blast of stifling hot air, unnatural heat that made my skin crawl. I rolled it back up fast. Something felt wrong, really wrong, like the whole place was waiting for me. I turned around and headed back toward the highway. And just as I was merging back on, I glanced in the rearview mirror and saw her. A woman stepping out of one of the houses. She waved at me, urging me to come back. I didn't. She started walking toward me, quickly. And even from that distance, I could tell her face was wrong. It was blurred like a smudge in reality. That's what scared me the most. I hit the gas and didn't look back. The next morning, I told a fellow driver who was from that area. He asked me to point it out on a map. I tried, but when I showed him a spot, he just shook his head and said, "There's nothing there." I didn't believe him. Maybe I'd gotten lost or confused. But on my return trip a few days later, I paid attention, looked closely, and he was right. There was nothing. No turnoff, no homes, no sign. It was as if that whole little neighborhood had never existed. Like for a few minutes, I'd stepped into another place, or maybe even another time. This one happened to my brother, and he gave me permission to pass it on to you. It all took place on a rural highway in a state not far from Atlanta, Georgia. Anyone who's driven these back roads, away from the cities, knows how thick the legends run out here. Stories of witches, spirits, and strange beings waiting to cross your path at night. This was something else. My brother worked for a nonprofit organization that delivered food and supplies to isolated mountain communities. On this particular trip, he was driving through the heavily forested hills approaching the Appalachians, near the border with Tennessee. Usually, they'd head out early in the morning to finish before nightfall. Even though they always sent 2 people for safety, those roads were known to be risky. Still, nothing had ever happened to him. Maybe because people knew he wasn't there to take. He was there to help. This time, however, the delivery wasn't just food. They were moving in furniture and equipment for a small office the organization was setting up in a remote town. A young woman from the group was going to stay up there permanently to manage it. So she'd asked them to bring everything she needed on day 1. They loaded up and made the trip in one day. But by the time they were dropping off the final pieces, the woman was nowhere to be found. It was getting dark fast, and they didn't know whether to lock the place up or wait. They weren't even sure if she had the only key. They started asking around. Some of the local teens who'd helped unload the heavy stuff hadn't seen her either. Then a boy came running from the edge of town, waving his arms. He apologized for not catching them sooner. He'd gotten distracted. But he had a message from the woman. She'd had to leave urgently for a neighboring village higher up in the mountains. Something had happened to one of the older women she worked with there. She caught a ride on a local guy's motorcycle, promising to return as soon as she could. So, my brother figured they'd just have to wait. The boy stayed with them. He'd grown up in the area and had been supported by the organization his whole life. So he was eager to help however he could. While they were chatting, a guy on a motorcycle cruise passed them casually. The boy's face changed. "That's him," he said. He gave her a ride earlier. He ran after the motorcycle, yelling to ask what had happened. My brother and his co-worker followed. The rider explained. Yes, he had taken her up there, but things got worse than expected. The woman was going to stay overnight. "What happened?" my brother asked. "Her name's Susanna," the man replied. "She helps run things up there. But her husband came back. Apparently, he'd been violent in the past. So much so that the village had kicked him out. He'd threatened to kill her. And now he was back. My brother didn't hesitate. He jumped in the truck determined to bring both women down. "You stay and watch the supplies," he told his partner. "I'm going up." Before he could finish the sentence, the boy who'd been helping them had already climbed into the truck. "I'll show you the way," he said. "The road's rough, but I know every turn." And off they went. At first, it was a narrow gravel road. Then, a single lane winding up the side of a steep hill. To the right, a deadly drop. "Don't worry," the boy said calmly. "No one else drives up here anymore." Soon, they left the cliffs behind and entered a dense forest where the trees were so thick they couldn't even see the sky. That's when my brother noticed the boy was no longer calm. He was nervous, fidgety. "I don't like this part," he muttered. "That's why I brought her through here quick earlier." My brother didn't ask what he meant. He didn't want to know, not until they were out. Eventually, the trees opened just enough for them to catch a glimpse of the stars. They both looked up, and that's when they saw them. 5 lights, flying fast, perfectly aligned. Then they abruptly changed direction, impossibly fast, like nothing they'd ever seen. Not planes, not helicopters, something else. The lights turned sharply downward toward the forest. My brother braced himself, expecting to hear an explosion, a crash, something, but there was nothing, just silence. "Don't stop, don't stop," the boy shouted, suddenly panicked. He lunged for the radio and turned it up full blast. My brother swatted his hand away, turned off the truck, and stepped outside. He had to see. He walked a bit off the road to get a better view, but there was nothing. In fact, there were no sounds at all, not even whine through the trees. Just dead silence. That's when the buzzing started. A high-pitched, violent hum, like a swarm of bees magnified 100 times. It got louder, louder, until it felt like his skull was cracking open. He dropped to his knees, clutching his ears in agony. Somewhere beyond the pain, he could hear the boy screaming too. Then, just like that, it stopped. The silence returned, but now his head was spinning, ringing. He stumbled back to the truck. The boy was hunched over, bleeding from his ears. The sound had ruptured something inside him. My brother helped him into the passenger seat and climbed in to drive. But the truck wouldn't start. Not even a click. Dead. Nothing. They sat there, terrified, unable to do anything but wait. About 20 minutes later, they saw a light approaching. A motorcycle. It was a man from the nearby town. He had come to tell them the woman was okay, but she would be staying up in the village. He offered to ride down with them, said it was too dangerous to stay up there after dark. My brother tried the ignition again, and the truck roared to life. They turned around carefully, winding back down through the woods. When they got to town, an elderly woman met them and immediately began treating the boy's ears with herbs and warm cloths. No questions, just quiet, practice care. My brother told his partner they were staying the night. He couldn't drive another mile. Not after that. But he didn't tell anyone what really happened, not until weeks later when I went to visit him. He only told me because one of your videos reminded him of a story our dad used to tell. That's what made it worse for him, because as it was happening, he realized it wasn't new. He'd heard something like it before. But that's a story for another night. Thank you for watching.